Going. Hi, welcome to Dare to Be Authentic podcast. I'm your host, Mari Mitchell, and I'm here with a wonderful guest. I'm so glad I found her because she's doing something so original and authentic, and I just couldn't wait to have her on my show. Her name is Claire Stadtmueller. She's an opera singer. She sung at Carnegie Hall and Lincoln Center in Europe, and she also sang the role of Tosca under the legendary maestro Vincent LaSelva. She has served on university voice faculties, and she's now focused on the end of tyranny. She wants to spread it all over the country to those who would enjoy it. Welcome to the show, Claire. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm really happy to talk with you. That's how I am. I'm really happy to chat with you and to share, to have this opportunity to share with your community. So thank you for that.
Oh, I just love having you. So let's start with what are you most passionate about?
Well, certainly music, because this farm girl left the farm to go live in Boston without one blade of grass at New England Conservatory to become a singer. And that was a culture shock for sure. So it was hook, line, and sinker of music since that time. And that's what led me to sing at those places you mentioned in my bio. And then the other thing I'm passionate about is truth, liberty, awareness of propaganda. And my name being Claire, clarity. The New York Times reviewed my Tosca in Central Park, saying, acted with affecting clarity. So that drive for clarity has led to other things, which includes the creation of my piece, The End of Tyranny, a music drama. And my third passion is for nature and
Mhm.
the well-being of animals. And I've been vegetarian for 42 years. And that passion led me to, in 2020, to co-found 5G Free Rhode Island and to work these past 6 years to stop with legislation in Rhode Island, in Connecticut, to stop the weather modification, also called geoengineering,
Yes.
which, for people who aren't aware of that, those are those stripes in the sky. And no, they're not from planes taking people to Florida.
Mhm.
These are intentional spraying of chemicals like aluminum, sulfuric acid, barium to block out the sun against climate change. Now, what could be worse than that? I presented legislation against this, as I said, in Rhode Island and Connecticut. And the White House released in June 2023 its 44-page document saying they're doing it.
Mhm.
And there are places in very layman's terms where it says, and we're not quite sure how it's going to turn out. And people
Oh,
with critical thinking skills know it's not going to turn out very well.
no.
So my passion for music and the environment and our well-being led me to first, before this now current musical drama, The End of Tyranny, first it caused me to create music videos.
Mm.
And they're on my YouTube channel, and they were on the topics of tyranny using other people's music, the great composers, Menotti. That one, I call them my dissident soprano music videos, not dissonant, but dissident soprano music videos. And my first one is just a slideshow, and it's from an opera about a woman and her dissident husband fleeing tyranny, and it's papers, papers, papers. And, then it became a passport that you had to have to avail yourself of certain things. Um, so I created that. And then when I couldn't go anywhere, I had a concert scheduled in Sicily. I couldn't go because of COVID rules.
Mhm.
At least my music videos could and did go to film festivals around the world.
Wow.
And so at least the message about banishment, because I would not relinquish my bodily sovereignty, to a mandate about medicine. That, and another one is an elegy for nature, because of the microwave radiation, which assaults us. There's just a proliferation of cell towers. And so I created that elegy for nature. So
Mhm.
these went to film festivals in India, Tokyo, Slovakia, Rome. So I couldn't go anywhere, but they did.
That's awesome.
Um, then I went beyond that and thought, well, I'll write my own piece. And so that's where End of Tyranny came about. I wrote the concept, lyrics, melodies, harmonies. Other people are handling the orchestration. Um, and shall I share the synopsis with your audience?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So there's a globalist. There are many globalists, but there's one on stage, Andrew Tarek, and he's got experience in music theater. And the globalists have an agenda to create transhumans, and they have the tech to do it. And by the way, everything in my show, The End of Tyranny, can be corroborated under a microscope, as many scientists do, with actual quotes from people. There'll be, it's multimedia, so there'll be a screen projecting quotes from people, um, and some photos of different things that, or the ridiculousness we've lived through. And so there, everything is corroborated by scientific fact or
Okay.
actual quotes from people. And one of those quotes was by Klaus Schwab's henchman, Harari: "We have created the hackable human."
Mm.
So the most important message from my show, The End of Tyranny, is that there is this faction of globalists that say, yeah, we're the gods around here. We're creating with voice to skull, with messages through Chat GPT to control people's thoughts and emotions. We're in charge here.
Mhm.
And then my character is a woman who represents all of us who did not comply, who do not comply. And I might start crying right now. Who will not comply? We will not, we did not, we won't. And so she represents all of us. You said passion. I'm passionate.
I love it. I love it.
um, she says to the people who have fallen to the propaganda, for whom I have compassion. There are people who fell to the propaganda through the
The
fear-based
fear.
fear porn
Yes.
on the TV. I haven't had a television since 2010, so maybe that's how I got out through this unscathed. But I have great compassion for them. I love some of them with all my heart. But she says, look, she prays to Yeshua, you have opened the ears of the deaf. You've opened the eyes of the blind. Can you please open the ears, the eyes of the people here, your people? And so she does bring them to awareness with their resistance, and has a mighty, mighty dramatic, this is a drama, confrontation
Okay.
with the globalist. And it's, you know, with Satan himself, with a confrontation. And then the people sing a hymn, a recommitment to being, a hymn that I wrote, um, a recommitment to be the children of God and not the transhumans of the other entities' mindset.
Wow.
So that's the show. And I would like people to know, because they heard that Claire is an opera singer. And so it's for everyone. It's in English.
Mhm.
And there are different musical styles. One of the songs is big band with
Wow.
saxophones and drum set, so it's big band. Some of it's music theater-esque. Mine is very much a prayer. As I mentioned already, there's like a church hymn. So it's
Mhm.
very eclectic. And so I don't want anyone to think that Oh, this is an opera. I go
Right.
to operas.
Yes.
So that's my show.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I'm getting chills just listening about it. I have no, I'm kind of almost speechless. I cannot wait to see it. Wait to see it. So let's talk a little bit. We're going to get back to the show in a minute, but let's talk a little bit about authenticity because we are in Dare to Be Authentic. And that's something, you said something about the clarity in the beginning, and authenticity creates clarity because we are who we are when we're authentic, and therefore we can see the truth. So let's talk a little bit about authenticity and what part that's played in you for your life.
Well, I've often joked that I don't know how to lie, and for better or for worse. And as many of us, such as with one of my music videos, the one about Banishment, another professional singer on YouTube wrote, "Thank you, you spoke for me." And so I've just told the truth, and that's lost me a lot of friends, and it's made me marginalized, even now when the restrictions for having a certain medical intervention are not as strict necessarily.
Mhm.
I've been marginalized because I spoke my truth. I was
Yeah.
authentic in making these music videos. So I was out there, and because of that, I'm marginalized as far as employment goes now. Um, and another thing about authenticity is authentic means genuine and the original. And I
Yes.
work with a little team here in Connecticut. We're just a little team, but so are the Patriots who uh, caused us to have a 250th celebration coming up in July, the week before my show. Um, there is a constitution written in 1787 with the Bill of Rights to follow around 1791. And our little group writes constitutional affidavits to remind our elected officials that we have a Connecticut Constitution, we have our national Constitution, and we need to follow it. And these bills you're writing are violating the Constitution. And we just delivered constitutional affidavits
Mhm.
to every member of our General Assembly in Connecticut.
Wow.
And there are just 15 of us authentic truth tellers doing this. And truth cannot be rebutted in a constitutional affidavit except with truth, only with truth.
Right.
And so that's our tool. Because people say, well, there are all these problems. What do you do about it? And yes, I've worked with legislation. But if they're violating the Constitution, that is the supreme law of the land. So our little team is using an authentic document in an authentic way.
That's fantastic. I love that. You guys are so brave. You are such a brave person. And but that's why I call the show Dare to Be Authentic, because being authentic sometimes requires a lot of courage. Like you said, you lost people, you're marginalized, you are apart from people that you just love so much because of the divide that has also purposely been created in our country, and it divides us instead of bringing us together. It's really hard to watch. Having grown up in New York City, being a young person in the 70s where we loved everybody, and it's so different now. So
Yeah, it is. I lived there. I spent loads of time there as a singer prior to living, but I lived there 2016 through 2019. And when there was all this divide, I thought, wait a second, I never experienced that. I rode every subway, Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn. I was everywhere. No one cared who anyone was. We were
no.
just like, hey, hey. And we had conversations all the time because I inevitably was studying a music score rather than wasting time. And they'd say, oh, what are you studying? And I would say, I've considered myself the opera ambassador of the one train. And I'd say, opera's for everyone. It's the human condition. It's mostly sex and violence. And Tosca is a bunch of murders and suicides and an attempted rape. And yeah, we all were fine together until people said, oh no, you're different. You have
Yes.
to be different.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Claire. I'm so glad to find somebody who has the same sentiments as me. So, the main reason that you want to bring the end of tyranny to the public, there may be more than one reason, but the main reason.
Uh, one of it, if I can have two reasons,
You can have two
one of it
reasons.
is to the solidarity, not to be divisive, but as I said, one singer had said about one of my music videos, and my cat's purring at my feet right now.
Hmm.
Um, Thank you. You spoke for me. So for those of us who have felt marginalized to say, hey, here's music for us. Here's a drama for us. And also it is a message of unity because my character, whom I said, it's not just Claire, it represents all of us, all the doctors who've said, look, you can heal this way. Look, you can be safe this way. All those people, it's to share the message that we don't have to pay attention to those people who are trying to propagandize or who say, we're in charge here, we can degrade society, we can promote Satanism, we can make the hackable human. So it's to say, no, no, reject them, listen over here, we have a different way of going about it, of healing, of being aware,
Mhm.
of trusting God to be our God.
Yes,
And so that's my purpose. That's it.
I love it. I love it because we need it. Uh, you don't see this. Well, I haven't watched the news since I was in my 20s. So I just quit way back then when it wasn't even so awful because it just wasn't good for me. And so I still find out everything. It's not like
Of
you're
course.
people are like, I
Yeah.
have to watch the
Yeah.
news because I want to know what's going on. Guess what? I know exactly what's going on all the time. But the media is just so full, it's just complete propaganda at this point, and in the United States and many other places as well. And so it's good to have something different to listen to, a different point of view, what we call the truth, because it has to be heard. The truth will set you free, and the truth comes out eventually. But it's you said something about opening people's eyes. It's getting whatever is in their eyes that they're just blindly following leadership or people who are in charge or experts, people who are authorities over whatever it may be, especially when it comes to medical. So I'm just so thankful that you have started this. It's like a revolution, really. That's the word that's coming to me. It's like a revolution. So
Yeah, through
yeah,
through music because
yeah.
I don't put my name in the same sentence with the great composers. I just had something to say. Remember the monkeys? We've got something to say. so so that's me. But musicians in the past, Shostakovich embedded his statements against tyranny in a way embedded in the music that his followers could get the codes. They would get the codes. I mean, mine is more graspable. You don't have to have the
Yes, more
code.
direct, yes.
But Verdi was considered um, a hero of triumph in uniting Italy because there were all these feudal states, and Verdi was considered a political hero that way. Um, so music can do this, certainly.
Mhm. Yeah, and music is such a beautiful uh way to do it because music latches onto your soul. I mean, there's something about music that's incredible. And at least for me, but I think most people, it could take you into a different space. And you're using one of the most powerful things that we have in our world to get your message out. I think that's a key. It's a very
Yeah,
powerful
and
medium.
I I might have given the impression, I mean, this is not a PhD course. Yes, there will be facts, there will be quotes, but this is entertainment too. It's a musical drama. So some of it is stinking funny. Some of it, because we've lived,
Right.
as Eon Opera says, you've lived it, we sing it. So some of it, what we lived through was ludicrous, and that's
Oh,
represented as well. So some of it's
yes.
stinking funny. It's not some dry PhD course or, oh my, goodness, we're going to weep all day.
Right. That's good to know. And humor is a wonderful thing, and you can teach people through humor as well. I mean, we went through a lot, and I think every one of us was scarred by what they put us through. You know, I just to this day, I just I can't believe what we went through, that what we were forced to do. And so, and I never thought that in this country this would happen. And I was kind of glad that my parents were gone, both of them, because I said my father would have been, he must have been rolling in his grave because he loved America so much. We're Cuban born. I'm Cuban born as well. Came to this country. He worshipped America because of the opportunity, and to see what we came to at that point of being forced into things. Never in a million years would I have imagined that that would happen here.
Yes, yes, the people who have lived through tyranny. I
Yes,
have friends from Romania, and they
yes,
were the most alert. Their antenna were up because they said, "We've seen this before. No, we don't want it here."
yes,
And
I
so
know.
you are part of that legacy. So your antenna were up, and
Oh, yes.
you could sense it.
Everybody was afraid of the COVID. I was never afraid of COVID, the disease. I was afraid of what the government was doing because I knew what they were doing, and it was
Yeah.
terrifying, terrifying for
And
me.
I may I share a quote
Yes.
that addresses this, the fear that they utilized to control people. Now, this was from a former KGB agent, Bezmenov, and he
Mm.
said, if a population is bombarded with nonstop fear, and what did we see on the TV? Always that virus thing. Most become completely brainwashed to implanted narratives. After this stage is completed, subjects are no longer capable of critical thinking.
Wow.
So that's what they did.
That makes sense now because I'm like, can't people don't we see, but I wasn't watching it.
Yeah.
Wow, that really gives me a lot to think. Now I understand because I know highly intelligent, God-loving, beautiful people who just lost their minds. And now I know why. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And it's about the COVID, but it's several different avenues that people don't see. I grew up on a farm, and what I've said in legislation and to other farmers, I say, I watched the sky, and there are people who don't realize that these stripes in the sky, this isn't natural. And I said, when I looked at the sky, it was to know, is it going to thunder tonight? So will I have to wake up at 2 in the morning to put the horses in if it's a lightning storm? Or do I put them in now so I can stay asleep? So I've watched the sky, and it's amazing to me when I spoke to my legislator, who's a man in his 40s and not a farmer. But I said, when you drive, you don't look at the sky and see these crazy stripes that certainly are not from some kamikaze pilot taking scared people to Florida doing kamikaze. And don't you see that it's different? And they don't see it.
No, no, it's normal. That's what's scary. It's normal.
Yeah, it's been normalized.
What's
Yeah,
artificial is normal. What's not, what's not natural, what didn't come from nature becomes normal. And that's
yeah.
scary. Yeah. Okay, so we have almost 13 minutes. I want to ask you anything else you want to add about the show, about anything? Well, first of all, let's share the date. It's a secret.
So yeah, July 11, in New Britain, Connecticut, but it's also by live stream. And after July 11, it will be available pay-per-view.
Okay.
And uh, I'd like to direct folks to the website, which is www.theendoftyranny.org. And oh, here's the poster.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
the the poster, so you've got the globalists here, and you've got the TV with the propaganda, and you've got Claire in the middle there. And you've got the geoengineering over here.
Oh, wow.
And so this poster, by the way, was made by Len Johnston, who is the leading impersonator of John Lennon in the country. Yeah. And I'm
Wow.
forgetting his URL. I'll have to think of his band, but you can look him up. He's an impersonator, and his wife is the conductor of my show. I met with her yesterday for 5 hours going over the score, even though we live in very geographically disparate places. And so we traveled to get together and go over the show. And she is a co-author of some of the legislation against the geoengineering and weather modification. Amazingly brilliant woman. So the website shows who we are. And my gosh, I have compiled from, my years of being a musician, um, fantastic top drawer musicians, top drawer. And so some of them are listed on the website. I have to add some more.
Okay.
Some of them I met when I sang a benefit in 2022 for Children's Health Defense.
Hmm.
People are familiar with that, Bobby Kennedy's thing.
Yes.
And the video I sang from that performance is on my YouTube channel also, because it was my first performance since all the lockdowns. Not
Wow.
having access to perform when you're a performer is like having an amputation. I mean, you couldn't even have a church job. And that's a line from my show is, church is shut down, and someone yells out, "Thank God liquor stores are open."
Yes. The liquor stores were open, but the churches had to be shut down.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I do, if anyone is listening, I'm still seeking some musicians because all of us involved are aligned with the message. And that's so we get the message, and so there's solidarity, and also to give employment to people who, I mean, this is a paid gig,
Yeah.
which will bring me to my next point. But especially if you're a bass player, please send me a message. Um,
Okay.
my email is on the website, but I'll give it to you now. It's Claire at eonopera.org, and that's spelled AEON, because opera has been around since 1600. I've been around for a bloody long time. And so this musical expression will go on. But as I said, it's not an opera, it's a
Right.
musical drama of eclectic styles. And towards the end of paying for musicians, I would humbly request, being an activist for 6 years is a lousy financial profile. It's a lousy, doing this for gratis for 6 years is not a recommended financial method. So I humbly would ask people if they feel inclined. It's a tax deductible nonprofit organization. So if you feel compelled, I have different categories on the website for things like "don't fence me in," or, "I do not comply." And
I love that. Wonderful. Wonderful. And all the links will be at the bottom here. So you can just click into all the links and get where you get to Claire's website, get to where you pre-buy your tickets, everything. Wonderful. So we have like 3 minutes, Claire. Is there one last thing you'd like to say to a listener? That something that's really deep on your heart today?
well, we are God's children. And I think, I personally think that the angels that want us to be preserved this way, God helps him who helps himself. The reason I ran two freedom rallies at the very beginning in 2020 um, was that I felt the angels want to know that we're not just sitting back and saying, rescue us, but we're going out there with our energy to say, no, we're not complying with this. And we want peace and we want prosperity.
Mhm.
And, you know, the economic profile or controls, it doesn't have to be that way, but this is, you know, the agenda 2030. I do want people to become aware of it. Rosa Koire, Koire on YouTube. I keep telling my elected officials when I go to my little town. I live in a little town of 5,000 people, to the planning and zoning, and say, no, you must be aware that's Agenda 2030, which is meant to control humanity. It's not to preserve the environment. I'm an environmentalist forever. I don't even have air conditioning in my house. Um, so I think the angels, I think God help those who help themselves. And so if we get strong and say, no, we're not complying with this. We're not complying with central bank digital currency, with digital ID. We're not complying with it because it wasn't just the COVID, it's ongoing with this.
Yeah.
You can't travel because of climate change. And so that's it. Like, we humanity are growing awareness. Hopefully my show, The End of Tyranny, it contributes to the growing of awareness, to the growing of strength, of backbone, and God help us, but he will.
You will. I love backbone. We need that. We need that backbone. We can't just be without backbone. Cowards. We have to be strong. We have to be brave. Claire, has been such a pleasure having you on the show. I cannot wait to see your piece. I just can't wait. I'm so excited. And for those listening in, all the links are down here. Spread the word. Spread it. That's why we're doing this interview, so that you can spread it to everyone you know and have them spread it even more. Thank you
Like
so
a virus, like a virus.
much. You're the best. So thank you so much. And make sure you catch us next time on Dare to Be Authentic podcast. Bye bye.